version 68 already? Welcome back to The Construct. So I feel like we just got done talking about PTC version 67, and hopefully version 67 is rolling out to you guys and you're experiencing all of the spatial computing glory that you can. But from enthusiast to enthusiast, I want to make sure that you are taking full advantage of some of the features in version 67. Let's get into it. One of the features that I'm pretty sure came out of experimental features in version 67 was being able to utilize background audio. Now I know what you're thinking. Why would I want to listen to two things at the same time inside of my Quest? I understand. That's how I felt about it at first. But if you think out of the box with this one, if you really start to embrace the Quest as a spatial computing device, it actually comes in handy. So say for example, you're playing a game like Cubism, but you're also wanting to listen to your favorite podcast or maybe even watching TV through something like YouTube TV. The good news is with this feature, you can do both. You can keep listening to the content that you might be watching on TV and get in a nice, calm puzzle game with Cubism at the same time.
Mental and physical health. In fact, what I will describe today is a journaling method that is supported by over 200 peer-reviewed studies in quality journals. And I frankly was not aware of this journal.
Or say, for example, if you're using Xbox's cloud gaming, you could play a video game and listen to that audio or listen to something else while you play something that you might not need the sound for. And because now in these recent versions, gamepads actually work in the browser, you can just mute the browser tab. You don't have to go into the Xbox Cloud Beta app. You could just do this right here in your browser, and it also works in full screen mode. Another one that might not be as common is quick web browsing. One thing that I find myself doing, especially with color pass-through, is picking up my phone and checking something on my phone when I need to look something up. And it's nice to be able to do that. But if you can do it in headset, it's all the better. Now, this isn't something that's unique to 67 or 68. I think I could do this for a while, but I'm doing it more these days. If you're in a full screen or a full immersive application, you can actually hit the Meta button and pull up your dock. From there, you can actually open another app and look into it, whether it's a web browser or anything else. I remember specifically one time I was setting up Meta Link on my PC in the house, and it asked you for a pairing code. I was able to actually just hop over to virtual desktop, open up that PC and see what the pairing code was, and then put that pairing code in back on Quest Link. I didn't have to go downstairs and actually go to the PC to find out what the link code was. It was actually pretty awesome. The next thing you might be missing is the grip button. Now, I know it's exciting to use all of the spatial computing things with your hands and move everything around with the hand tracking. That's great. And you guys know I've said it before, I like controllers. It gives you something tactile to hold on to. Now, when you're moving things like a window, like you want to move a browser tab over to another space, or you want to move one window to another, sometimes it can get a little janky and trying to make sure you are pinching enough or pinching in the right place. And sometimes the window just doesn't move or doesn't lift up off of the place that you want to move it from. One thing I noticed, even in comparison to the trigger button on the Quest controllers, the grip button works every time.
60% of the time, it works every time.
So instead of fooling with your fingers or even the trigger button, use the grip button. It always seems to pick up the whole window and allows you to move it very quickly. And the last one isn't necessarily a feature per se, but it's something that I've noticed since we moved ahead to version 68. If you look down at your hands, you'll notice that they've removed the outlines around your hands, which makes sense. If you're in Passthrough and you can see your hands, you shouldn't have an outline around them. All right, guys, if you notice that you see my outline here only when I cross a window, you see how it goes away and then it comes back? So you can see here, only when a window is in the way does it show. It's actually pretty cool because you don't have the occlusion, so I can't actually see my hand, but I might want to see where my hand is. And instead of it going behind the window, I get a nice outline of my hand to show me where that is. But it actually makes that one experimental feature make so much more sense. There's an option in experimental features to show the outline of your hand. So if your pass-through is dark, or say you've moved it to be darker, you might still want to see your hands with a outline around them. But if it's bright and clear, there's no need for the outline and they don't put it there. So it's pretty sweet. Speaking of making the pass-through darker, that's something that wasn't there in the PTC version of version 67, and now it is. You can now dim the pass-through. So I guess that was just something they hadn't finished yet when they released the PTC, but it's good to see it there. And I know a couple of you mentioned this in the comments, you're now able to select the 3D or VR version of whatever you're viewing in the browser. They brought those controls back. You can see them down here at the bottom. And even if you've already went into full screen, you can still find those options here. I'll leave you with this one last tip. If you don't like how the pass-through looks even now, it looks pretty awesome to me, but if you still don't like how washed out it looks, go to the accessibility settings and increase the contrast. It'll darken some of that whitewash in the pass-through. Now this does mean it is going to darken your contrast globally, so across games and your native OS. So it's something to keep in mind. Honestly, guys, I think it's amazing how far the Quest has gone from just earlier this year to now as a spatial computing device. It's really, really cool stuff. It's always good to see you guys, and I appreciate you coming here each and every week. We'll see you here next time in The Construct. Peace.